Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and today I'm going to be doing an emotional romance books recommendation video. So today I have books for you that were emotional. For me, I'm not someone who always loves emotional books, and I'm not someone that cries a lot in my books. So these are definitely standout ones to me as someone who's not always a lover of that. I think they're really good. So let's jump into it. The first book I have is Bright Side by Kim Holden. This is not a traditional romance. I just want to throw that out there. There's no HEA. But this is about our main character, Kate, who's also known as Brightside because she's so bubbly and upbeat, and she is keeping a secret. She has a really, really tough past, which is amazing that she's still this bubbly and bright person considering everything she's gone through, but she's keeping this secret from everyone that she loves. And she goes to this small town to go to college, and in that small college town, she meets somebody named Keller Banks. And it's their romance together, but she is keeping a secret from Keller. And when this secret comes out, it is devastating. So this book was definitely emotional. It made me cry. Please, please, please check trigger warnings before going into this book. Before going into any of the books in this video, actually, please check the trigger warnings. But this one, yeah, definitely check them. Very emotional. One of the few books that has made me cry. It was really, really sad, but really good. Like I said, there's not a traditional HEA at the end of this book, but I think it is so, so worth it. And if you are someone who loves emotional books, definitely give this one a try. The next book I have on this list is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This is another book that made me cry. This is about our main character. Something happened in her past and she actually goes to prison because of it. The thing that happened was very emotional for her to deal with. She finds out she's pregnant in prison and she has her daughter in prison. Her daughter is taken away and goes to live with her father's parents. So this follows her character after she gets out of prison, and she just wants to connect with her daughter. And everyone in the town that she stays with does not like her because of this event that happened that led her to going to prison. Everyone blames her. She blames herself. She has a lot of guilt for it. She really just wants a relationship with her daughter, and she meets her daughter's father's best friend. He has a relationship with her daughter, and they meet, and they kind of form this romance because he doesn't know who she is. And yeah, it's heartbreaking and it's beautiful and it made me cry. And I've said this before, but the romance in this book wasn't necessarily what made this a 5-star for me. It was more so like what she went through and that part of the story, but the romance is still really good and really strong too. This book is definitely an emotional book. So yeah, that's my next recommendation. The next book on my list is a popular one, and that's Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. Please check the trigger warnings. Again, this is a dark, dark romance, but this is about our main character and her sister's fiance, and they're at her birthday party, and she has a few drinks and she needs a ride home. So she calls her sister's fiance, who left the party earlier, to come and get her. Something happens and they get kidnapped and they're locked in this man's basement together. They're both sexually assaulted and they go through a lot together, and there's a lot of trauma that they endure together. And then it follows them after they escape and kind of the bond that they have formed because they went through this trauma together and their connection, and they have to deal with the repercussions of him being engaged to her sister, but them having this bond together and forming this relationship together. And the way that the book handled it, I think, was pretty good. And especially the way that they have, like, the third act breakup, they have to be apart from each other to kind of process what happened to them before they can come back together. And this book is obviously very emotional because of the things that they go through together, and also like the heartache of she has these feelings for her sister's fiance, and they've been together for years and he doesn't want to hurt her, but he can't deny these feelings that he has. So yeah, that one's very emotional. The next book I have on this list is Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This is about a girl who meets a guy in a bar one night. They hit it off. She loves basketball. He plays basketball. They're kind of bantering about a basketball game that's on the TV at the bar. They have great chemistry and they have an amazing night together. And then they go their separate ways and they kind of always think about each other though. And Iris, she's the main girl character in this book. She actually marries a player from the NBA, and then August, which is the guy she met at the bar, he gets drafted into the NBA. And turns out that Iris is in this extremely abusive relationship, and she actually runs into August because they're both in her husband and August are both in the NBA, so they see each other, and it's kind of their Iris dealing with this extremely abusive situation that she's in, but also seeing August and kind of having these feelings for August, and August seeing her and realizing the situation she's in and just wanting her to get out and for her to be safe. Yeah, this book's really emotional, especially like I said, triggers for domestic abuse. August and Iris, like, you just want them to work out so bad, but I think Kennedy Ryan does a really good job of seeing how hard it is to be in a domestic abuse situation and how you can't just always leave. And Iris also has a daughter with her husband too, so it's a complicated situation, and the way that August can be there for Iris and just wants her to be safe and try to help her through this. It was really, really sweet, really emotional, definitely made me cry. Kennedy Ryan is a genius, and I think if you haven't read this book, you should check it out. The next book I have is Where the Blame Lies, and this is a romantic suspense by Mia Sheridan. I think that if you like Still Beating, you would like this. This is about a girl who gets kidnapped when she's 19, and she's held in a basement basically, or a dungeon, I don't really know, but she's held there. She is sexually assaulted, she's traumatized. It's this terrible, terrible situation. She ends up pregnant while she's held captive, and has the baby while she's held captive. And her captor takes this baby and she never sees it again. She ends up escaping, and it's kind of two timelines: when she's captive and then the present, which is she has escaped. It's like 10 years later or something like that. And she is living in this house, and she's always trying to figure out where her baby is. No luck though. And then this detective comes to her house, and he's telling her that the guy that did this to her is doing it again to other people, they think. She's like, that's not possible. He committed suicide. And then they think, well, maybe there's a copycat. So this detective is trying to keep her safe because they're afraid that if it's not a copycat and it's the guy, that he would come back for her. So this detective kind of makes it his personal mission to keep her safe while also trying to figure out what's going on. And they form a romance together, and it's really good. I loved the suspense part of this book while also weaving in the romantic parts. I think it blended really, really well. This book really surprised me considering it's by Mia Sheridan. I think this book is better than Archer's Voice. It's obviously a lot different, but it worked for me a lot better than that book did. So if you didn't like Archer's Voice, I challenge you to read this book, especially if you like thrillers too. I think it's a good mix of the two genres. So yeah, that one was really, really good. Definitely emotional because of obviously everything she's gone through. She has no idea where her child is. All she wants is to meet her child and see her child. She only got, a little bit of time with it right after it was born before it was taken away. Can't remember if it's a boy or a girl, but the last book I have to recommend is Direva by Isa Madden Mills. This is about a girl. Takes place in a high school, and there's like these rich boys that kind of run the school. They're called the Sharks, and then there's Ava, and Ava has a really, really traumatic past, and she goes to this high school, and one night she gets drugged and sexually assaulted at a party, and she doesn't remember what happened, but she knows it was one of the Sharks that did this to her. She leaves the school and comes back a while later because she has to for reasons. She finds this letter from a secret admirer that's one of the Sharks, and it turns out to be Knox. So enter Knox, he's one of the Sharks. He also has a really bad past, a traumatic past. So they help each other kind of deal with the trauma that they've had in their past. And they also try to figure out who did this to Ava. Obviously, it was one of Knox's friends because it was one of the sharks. So definitely emotional. Ava dealing with her, her already damaged past on top of getting sexually assaulted. I think Issa Madam Mills is a great author, and I really love this book. Definitely emotional one. Ava dealing with her sexual assault, Knox dealing with his past, emotions, but it was really, really good. Those are all the books I have to recommend to you today. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.